everyone, it's Renee with Delaney Jane Cards. Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a video for you that is part of a release hop for Not Too Shabby. Today is, we have a hashtag driven hop. It'll be in my description or my title. Just click on the hashtag. It'll pull up all of the other videos that are in the hop here. There are giveaways, 3 prizes, a $25, a $15, and a $10 gift certificate to the Not Too Shabby shop. There are several ways to win. Follow the hop, watch the videos, leave comments along the way. When you're done with the entire hop, go to the raffle copter. That'll also be in the description. Click on that and it'll take you to the raffle copter where you can do all the other fun things to enter. The hashtag, it will be in my description and in my title, but it's hashtag N2S fall release. The giveaway ends on the 23rd of August 2020. So if you're watching this video before that, make sure that you hop along and enter. Today I'm going to be using this fantastic set. It is called Critter Costume Party, and it is one of the very brand new sets by Not Too Shabby Shop. And I'm going to use it to make a Halloween card. I just thought it would be kind of fun and fitting, and I really wanted to play with a fun, neat background. So for this stencil here that I'm using, this masking stencil, a friend of mine made me these masking stencils. Anytime you see the shaped masking stencils in my videos, I have several shapes, but my friend Beth made me those, and I love them very, very much. I just used them recently in a video. I think it was the oval one. And anyway, we're using the circle today. So I had placed the actual mask, the actual stencil over my paper, and then decided where I wanted the circle and fit that in so that I had it. I wasn't sure if I was going to need the negative space, no, positive space, the hole. I wasn't sure I was going to need the moon hole. So I did that first, but here I'm just applying really lightly some purple Distress ink. It's the Wilted Violet. And now this is a blueprint sketch, and I am sloppily putting that on here. And then I'm going to use this stencil, and this is the brand new cloud stencil by Create and Inspire. You can go to Create and Inspire and you can pick it up on its own. It's got clouds on one side and grass on the other. But I just use this to infer that there are clouds in this sky. I'm going for a spooky Halloween sky. I am not really too big on making Halloween cards. They are kind of fun. Halloween itself is not my favorite holiday. I have some super reasons for that, but I do enjoy working with the critters, and this stamp set is super adorable. I went around this with some, what is that one called? The denim one, and then with the black set. So that's what I'm doing. Let's talk about the stamp set. So there's this little dog, and he is hanging on for dear life on the broom. And I did use that in this card. There's also a little kitty, and he has, or she has, a witch's hat on. There is a little chick, and the chick has like a Batman and Robin kind of mask, and that's tied on him. Then there's a little bumblebee that also has the witch's hat. Those are the ones that I used on this card, but there is a sloth with a cape and a mask. There is I think it's a llama with a spider web, like it's wearing a spider web. That's super cute. And then there are 2 bunnies. One is a ghost and one has big witch's shoes on. And then there's also this adorable little hedgehog with some pumpkins, or a pumpkin as the trick-or-treat bag. So here I wanted to just make sure that I had everything masked off and I wasn't going to get any further, without knowing that there was that my stuff was looking good, that I didn't screw up my masking. So I'm going to show you the majority of this coloring. If you've been along for the ride on my channel, you know that I did recently change my editing style, and I am showing the coloring at more of a regular speed. It is sped up 2 times, so it's not super fast, but anything more than that, I do find I personally kind of have trouble watching, so I have slowed down my coloring, and that makes my videos a little bit longer. So if you are not a super long video watcher or you don't like watching coloring, I will have a timestamp in the description box for you to kind of skip ahead of the coloring. But it's not that much coloring, and who knows, maybe you'll learn something. This is how I learned to color, by watching other people color. I also need to get my lighting figured out. I had a light bulb go out in my craft room, and I put a different one in, and it's not good. So I'm hoping that by the time the next video goes up, I'll have that all taken care of. But here I just colored in the moon with some yellows. The reason that I had, placed the circle with the actual like stencil itself, I wasn't sure if I was going to ink blend this or Copic color it at that time, but I decided to Copic color it. Now I'm using that same stencil that I used, the cloud stencil, and I'm using purple ink this time, and I am just carefully and super lightly giving the idea that there are clouds in front of the moon. And you'll see I'll reinforce those a little bit later, but I wanted to kind of fill that in. Now I didn't mask, I didn't do a good job masking. I didn't. Just straight out, I'll tell you, I didn't. You don't even have to tell me I didn't. So when I do that, I try to kind of fill in around the edges before I even get started, because at this point, it's just a blended background, and I could do it again if I really needed to, if it was so screwed up that I had to toss it. I don't often toss things. I mean, it happens, but I don't often do it because it is just paper. So I was using some BVs, the lower BV markers, BV 02, 04, and 08, to kind of fill in where I missed with my masking. And then I decided I was going to give these guys kind of a shadow. I was going to make everything pop off the moon in the background, and I do feel like it does. It pushes these images forward, and everything else kind of in the back. And I don't know if what I'm seeing is what you're seeing, so you'll have to let me know if you do see that. Oh, back to the stamp set. There are like buildable sentiments in Jamie's newer releases. This one is no exception. There is Happy, there is Halloween, and there is Hap Bee, like HAP-BEE. I guess it could be used with that little witch bee. There's also Boo and Eek and Trick or Treat. And they're clear stamps, so if you wanted to kind of configure them anyway, other than that, you could either mask your sentiments or you could cut them. I cut my stamps, like the sentiment stamps, I cut them all the time. They fit back together just fine. So here I started coloring my little critters. I'm not going to do anything fancy with them. This little one here, little chicken, I just used a couple of really light markers. I think it's Y02 and YR02 as my shadow. I didn't really do too much. He is yellow and he's kind of on a yellow background. So I mean, he does stand out in the end, but only because I give him a little bit of a shadow. And this is where I decided that I was going to give each of the critters, on top of that shadow that went around the outside of everything, I am going to give each of the critters a shadow. So I kind of sketched it in. I was nervous. I'm not even going to lie. I was nervous. And I blended it out with the Y02. Later you'll see that I kind of get less nervous. For my bee, I did the yellows first. I wasn't sure if I was going to do a black stripe or if I was going to do something kind of fun, like a purple stripe. I kind of want to color him up with purple and yellow and see how he looks. But I didn't. Just spoiler alert, I ended up going traditional. It took me a long time to decide to go traditional yellow and black for the bee. So here I'm adding that little bit of a shadow to the bee itself. And you'll see that I really tried to get this shadowing down. Now my coloring as far as light source, yeah, don't pay attention to that because I didn't. I could have given these guys an amazing highlight from the moon and shadows. Like this could have been a really, really strong shadows and highlights because of where they're located in the moon. Didn't do that. I just was coloring for fun. I have been in kind of a funk lately. We've had a lot going on in our family with our kids, and just lots of things, and getting in the craft room has been a struggle, to say the least. So I just wanted to get something colored, something done, something finished. And so I didn't pay attention to that, light source thing very much. If you are a light source colorer, I'm very sorry. I didn't. I try to keep, the features on the little black cat soft, or like around the features, so you can still see the features. For the dog, I did this kind of a tan brown little dog. I just thought that he would be super cute as a little brown dog. I think he would be adorable as a Dalmatian too. So I might have to do some additional coloring. The black cat, I recently colored my first black cat, and I almost colored him orange, and then I was like, wait a minute, this is a Halloween card. The cat should be black. Like, he should be black, unless he's spray painted like some furry spray painty color and he's now not black, but black cat. I did see some previews of some of the other cards that are in this hop, and oh my word, there are some super talented people on Jamie's design team. I just never feel worthy at all. They come up with the most creative things, and they color so amazingly, and just the talent that she has on her design team is just ridiculous. So if you decide that you need some new people to follow, hop along on this hop, follow those people. There's also a digital design team. Sometimes they do videos, sometimes they do like Instagram and stuff like that. But you can get all sorts of inspiration. There's also Scrap and Stampers. It's a Facebook group that Jamie has. You can get all sorts of inspiration there, and that's everybody, not just design team members. That's people that have just picked things up from her shop or use things that her shop carries, and they share them. It's a great resource. But I absolutely, if you are looking for new people to watch, follow this hop and follow all those people. I am telling you, hands down, she has such a wide variety of talent. It's not just one style either. These are people with all sorts of different styles, all sorts of different ways of looking at things. It's very eclectic in talent, and I think it's just an amazing team to be on, and I really appreciate it. So enough said about that, and back to my card. Here I'm adding that shadow around everything. I realized that at this point I needed to kind of beef that up and add it to everything and make sure it's very reinforced so that everything does just pop right off of that moon. That moon is super spooky with the clouds and everything. But I didn't want these guys to kind of blend in or look flat. And since this is just a one layer card, which I don't do all that often, I needed that dimension, and that's what I'm getting there with that little bit of a shadow. So I did color the broom. I did the straw end in yellows, the same yellows I've been using. I didn't pull anything else in. Even the broom handle, I used the same browns I used, and then I just added a little bit to the actual like straw part of the broom. Here's the first time I pull in a different color, and it's this fluorescent blue color. I wanted the wings to be super light but kind of a bright blue, something that's different than the background, but definitely would blend in a little bit. And I have no idea why my camera seems like it's flashing. When I'm watching this back as I'm doing the voiceover, I get this really weird flashing. I am super sorry if it's doing that for you. I have no idea what's going on. I need to fix my lighting. Clearly, you can't even tell what I'm coloring, and I need to work on some of that stuff. Anyway, for the hat, I'm also pulling in another fluorescent. I added those to my Copic collection, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8 months ago. I do really enjoy adding them in. They add this pop of brightness and lightness. I wouldn't say they're exactly like fluorescent, although I seen her video recently where somebody had them and then used a black light, and some of them do glow like fluoresce. I guess some of them are fluorescent. So here I'm just doing a super bright pink, and I did the 2 witches hats and then the little chicken's mask. I just thought that all of their costumes, if they were all pink, that would be super cute and fun. And it was just another really bright, bold color that would pop right off that background. Oh, the kitty's little collar. So here I finally decided on those stripes. Like I said, I really think that this would be really cool, with purple stripes. I don't know. I didn't this time. I will next time though. I will color them with purple. I think that would be fun. So then I decided that I would do something cool to the background. So I have this embossing powder by Lawn Fawn, and it's glow-in-the-dark embossing powder. Now, I never have the best luck with this stuff. It's kind of got the weird plastic, the plastic that is the embossing powder. Then it has a really weird powder to it too, which I think is like the glowy part. But mine doesn't always work the greatest. So you'll see that I do use it, and it is pretty cool. But I also pulled out some other embossing powders. But I'm going to emboss this on the background. I am moving it around. I'm using my embossing bag. I use the Scrap Perfect embossing bag. I like that one the best out of all of the embossing tools I've ever used. And then I'm just using my Versamark ink pad, and I was just checking to make sure that I had a good solid layer. So here's that Lawn Fawn embossing powder, and you'll see that it kind of leaves this dust at the bottom. It's not actually embossing powder, it's just the weird dust. It doesn't melt there or anything. And then in the end, I will be able to wipe it off. So here I'm just filling in a little bit more after I had done those few, and I did melt them. And so you see that it's not like green, but it's kind of clear. You can't really read them. These are kind of in the background. You can't really read what they say. They are just meant to be a background. It's not meant to be like super legible or anything. So I did stamp those out just a few more times, and I will move them around and do all sorts of fun things to fill in the space. I did take note and leave a space underneath the moon for the sentiment that I will add later. Here I'm using some sparkly purple embossing powder. I love this one. It's so gorgeous. I want to sparkle emboss all the things. Every time I get these sparkle embossing powders out, I'm like, oh, why don't I use those more? Because they're pretty, like really pretty. I have a silver one too that every time I use it, I'm like, I should use this on everything. And then I get to doing something else and forget. But I think it would be a little boring if I used the fun sparkly stuff on everything. So here I'm adding the Happy Halloween just down here on the bottom, kind of where I had left a space. And I'm going to heat emboss that too, but I'm going to use white because that is going to stand up off that background really nicely. And I did use the Brutus Monroe white that I have. I have a jar of white from Simon Says Stamp, and I don't know if like the embossing powder got onto the threads of the bottle, but it's super hard to open and close, and I get annoyed. Here I'm just patting this onto a piece of black cardstock because you know me, I like my black cardstock layer. It just adds so much in my opinion. And I always, well, I don't always, but I try to frame it up and get it all centered, and it doesn't always work that way. I'm human, I make mistakes. So there is the outside of my card for this super fun release. I did add black glaze pen and white gel pen and I think some sparkle pen too. We'll see here. But there are other stamp sets that were released in this new release, and they are really fantastic, and they are fall themed. So if you like to get a jump on your fall themed projects, this is the time to buy it. She always does like a bundle kit, and I'll have the link below to all that too. Make sure you hop along and join us and enter to win, because who doesn't want to win a gift certificate? Free things. I mean, free things. And then if you are interested in these stamps and the others in the line, I'll have the link linked below for you as well. But that is the front of my cards. So for the insides of my cards, I have been finishing them, and we are well into August, and I'm still finishing them, which is kind of scary. So here scary as in I actually completed a New Year's resolution, like at least for 8 months. For the inside of this card, I just took the ink that was left on my ink blender brush and the stencil and kind of added a circle off to the one side, and then did stamp that little dog with the broom. Stamped that in gray ink. It is one of my most used inks. It's gray shadow gray. Yep, shadow gray by Ranger Letter It. I use it on the insides of my cards quite often. So here is my card. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this hop. And I really want to know what you know, if you have any tips and tricks for that embossing powder. And did you like my card today? I totally miss you guys, and I promise to be back much more frequently. As I always say, thank you for stopping by and give cards generously. Bye.